Alright, hey guys, second video, 5.4, comparing and graphing ratios is what we're talking about today. And the essential question is, how can you compare two ratios? How do we take two ratios and compare them and get some meaning out of that? So that's what we're going to find out. Alright, so as a quick recap, we need to remember least common multiple. Okay, so what's the least common multiple of 4 and 5? Well, remember, multiple means multiply, so we could do it like that and say, what's the first multiple of 4? 4. And then 8 and 12, 16, 20, 24. And we can maybe stop there because maybe we have enough. And let's see, with 5, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, check it out. That is the smallest multiple that is shared or common between those two. And then 6 and 9. What do y'all think about 6 and 9? Well, hopefully this one kind of comes to mind as we do these more. But I'm thinking, well, 6, then 12, and then 18, and then 9. I'm seeing 9 and 18, so 18 is the least common multiple there. All right, so we also have to know greatest common factor. So greatest common factor of 24 and 16. So we could do it the long way and say, what are the factors of 24? Well, I guess you got 1 and 24, and then 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, and then that's it. And 16, we could do 1 and 16. 2 and 8, and the 4 in itself, right? So what's the greatest common? Largest one that's common in there, what do y'all think? I'm seeing 8 being the greatest common factor. And then 11 and 7, what's the greatest common factor of 11 and 7? Well, those seem like interesting numbers because I'm pretty sure 11 is prime, right? So what are the factors of 11? 1 and 11, that's it. What are the factors of 7? 1 and 7, that's it. So greatest common is actually 1. Alright, so there is a Good Mythical Morning video out there. So that's those guys who we watch their videos in chapel sometimes, and they ate some super hot peppers, so the scorpion pepper, or no, Carolina Reaper is what they ate. Yeah, Carolina Reaper, hottest pepper known to man right now. So let's say you're inspired by their video and you want to make your store-bought salsa really hot by adding some Carolina Reaper sauce. So what you do is you take 8 tablespoons of that Carolina Reaper hot sauce and mix it with 3 cups of salsa. Now your friend wants to do the same thing. So your friend mixed 12 tablespoons of the sauce with 4 cups of salsa. So who made the hotter mix? And so what do I mean by hotter mix? Well, I'm assuming more Carolina Reaper sauce per bite, which is the same as who has more Carolina Reaper sauce per teaspoon, or Carolina Reaper sauce in there per gallon, right? So it's really who has the most sauce when we're comparing the same total amount, or maybe even the same cups of salsa. So when we're comparing ratios, we want 1 unit in each ratio to match. So in this case, we can try and get the salsa amounts to be the same, or we can get the hot sauce amounts to be the same, and we can use either one of those to compare. So we're going to do tables here. And so for you, what should we put in there? Well, what do we know about you? You took 8 tablespoons of Carolina Reaper sauce, which that's going to be that right there. So 8 teaspoons, and you mix it with 3 cups of salsa, right? Now, what about your friend? Well, we know your friend mixed 12 tablespoons of the hot sauce with 4 cups of salsa. And at first blush, we kind of look at that and say, oh, that's TSP for teaspoon. Well, he has 12 teaspoons, so it's got to be harder than yours because you only had 8. But the problem is you added 8 teaspoons to 3 cups. He added 12 teaspoons to 4 cups. So again, this is why we make tables here, and we're going to figure out who has the hottest sauce by, well, let's go back up here real quick. Greatest common factor or least common multiple. Let's see, maybe one of those is helpful. So if we go down here, how can I really compare these? Well, what if maybe we each made the same amount of salsa, and then we can figure out how much hot sauce we would need to add. So like, for example, you made 3 cups, right? Well, what if it was 12 cups? Well, again, what did you do to 3 to make it a 12? We've talked about this, right? Well, we multiplied by 4. So what are we going to do up here? Multiply by 4. So what's that? It's 32 teaspoons, okay? So for every 12 cups of salsa you would add 32 teaspoons. Now what about your friend? Well, why did I choose 12, okay, cups? Because I knew that the least common multiple of 3 and 4 was 12. So what do you do to 4 to make it 12? Times 3. What do you do to 12 to make it, or what do you then do to 12, I should say, times 3. So 4 times 3 was 12. 12 times 3 is 36 teaspoons. Okay, so who has the hotter sauce? Well, if you both have 12 cups of salsa, you're adding 32, but the friend is adding 36. The friend has the hotter, that's my little fire, the hotter salsa. Okay, so there you go. You guys know that I love boxers, so I had to show you these pictures because they're just too good to not show anybody. Right? Look at that. I mean, isn't that the cutest puppy in the world? Of course it is. If you think it's not, you're wrong. I'm just kidding. It's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little question here about dog food. A lot of you guys have dogs, and so when you have dogs, you kind of need to feed them. And so we're going to figure out between these two kinds, what's the better buy. So here, we've got one kind of blue buffalo, and here's another kind of blue buffalo. So I got this from the PetSmart website. So for this 30-pound bag here, you're paying $45.99. For the 15-pound bag, you're paying $26.99. So what is the better buy? So what I want you guys to do is I want you to pause the video, give it a shot, see if you can figure out what I'm getting at, and then play when you're done, and let's see how you do. Okay, so maybe you kind of saw this right here and you're saying we need to make blank. Well, what is that blank? We're going to go unit rates. Okay, so unit rates. Remember, what are unit rates? Well, that's when the denominator of your rate or your ratio becomes a 1. Okay, we want the denominator to be 1. So the denominator of what? Well, some rates. What are the rates we have? Well, think about it. If we're talking about like what's a better buy, usually we say like, how many, how much money is it per pound, right? So in this case, it's $45.99 for 30 pounds. So that to me, it looks like the rate or the rate, 45.99 over 30 pounds. Okay, now what about this one over here? Well, I'm seeing the same basic information, but this one is $26.99 for 15 pounds. Okay, and so can we really compare these yet? Not really, because I want to make unit rates, okay? And there's another way to do it as well, but we can make unit rates by saying, I want the denominators of both to be 1. So we got to remember that whatever you do to the top of a fraction, you want to do to the bottom, or whatever you do to the top, you got to do to the bottom, or whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top. So what do I do with 30 to make it 30? 30, what am I doing? Sorry guys, 1 pound. What do I do to 30 to make it 1? Because again, unit rate has a denominator of 1, so what do I do to 30 to make it 1? Well, of course, you divide by 30. So that's what I'm going to do on top. All right, so we got to divide the top by 30, and here's my math on this. And so when I did that, I got 1.533. Now, what was I solving for? Well, the bottom was pounds, the top was dollars, right? So I probably ought to round this, and so I'd say that's my 100th place, so this is going to tell me whether that 3 rounds up or stays, and it looks like he's going to stay. So we're going to say that it's $1.53 per pound for that food there. So let's move over here. $26.99 for 15 pounds. Again, I'm trying to compare these by getting unit rates, right? So I'm going to want to make the bottom 1 pound. So what do you do to 15 to make it 1? Divide by 15. But whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do the top. And so now we're going to take $26.99 divided by 15. Okay, so here's my math on this. You guys can divide with decimals, so I'm not worried about that. And in my math, what I realize is that eventually I start getting a repeating 3. Why? Because I get to a point where I have a remainder of 5. Okay, and so then when you add a 0 down, you get a 50. Well, 15 goes into 53 times, which leaves you with the 45, which is another remainder of 5. So you kind of have a pattern there. But again, we're talking about money, and we need to move our decimal up. And so really, we're looking at this number. And, well, that's the 100th place. So is that 9 going to round up or stay? Well, that 9 to the right of him tells me he's going to round up. So $1.79 now becomes $1.80. So let's kind of put that over here real quick. And we're going to say it's $1.80. $1.80 per pound. So let's look at these two. I've got $1.53 per 1 pound, and I've got $1.80 for 1 pound. And let's look up here. Okay, so this one was the 15-pound bag, and that's $1.80 per pound. But if you get the bag that's bigger, yes, you pay more, obviously, right? $45.99 versus $26.99. But how much are you actually paying per pound? It's only $1.53 per pound, whereas this one was $1.80. So it is true that when you buy the bigger bag, you generally pay less per pound. And that's kind of the case pretty much across the board with most products. The more you buy at once, the cheaper it actually is per pound. So if you're going to end up using 30 pounds of food, you're better buying one big bag than buying 2 small bags. All right, so that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for sticking with it, and I will see you in class.